Morning. Today we're going to go over a big week in NFTs. I think this is one of the more hyped weeks we've seen in a little while. Maybe that's just a personal take on it, but I think it does seem like there's a lot minting this week. And so we're just going to go over a few of them, especially tomorrow with the 2/22/22 date. Seems like a lot of projects wanted to use that as a way of launching. So today, Logie, of course, with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm excited. Yeah, this is a really big week. Like some drops that have been driving hype and demand for like a long time now. You mentioned Invisible Friends, of course, being kind of the headliner, but a lot of others that I've seen floating around some of these mid-sized communities with allow list giveaways and stuff that finally culminated in drops this week.
Yeah, so I think we'll get to Invisible Friends, but there's a few that are happening tomorrow that I wanted to get to first. I think it's kind of interesting, but Invisible Friends is going to hold a lot of liquidity in the market, I think, for the next few days in this week. But there's a lot of other stuff happening, say like today and tomorrow, that it'll be interesting if they're affected by people maybe holding their funds in order for them to get in on some Invisible Friends. So the first one I wanted to talk about is actually kind of interesting. It's the Snoop Dogg one that we mentioned it last week. We had obviously a tweet about it from Lucky Trader NFT News account, but it seemed like something that had been talked about and maybe forgotten for a little bit. So I'm just going to bring this up here. And basically, Snoop Dogg is launching his avatar project through Sandbox. So he has a little arrangement with them, and they're going to have 10,000 Snoop Dogg based NFTs. And they're coming out. They're going to be on Sandbox, which I don't think a lot of people have been using. Do you think that
No.
that's a good idea, or is that going to sort of limit this, or is Snoop Dogg a big enough name that people are still going to line up?
This is super interesting for me because we kind of make fun of the thing about like partnering with Sandbox, right? Is like news but not news. So we've seen lots of NFT projects talk about their partnerships with Sandbox. This seems to be maybe the only real legitimate partnership. If you think about the use of that word, I think Sandbox is big enough that, and Snoop Dogg is big enough that we're not. We shouldn't write this off as like some small thing. Look at that.
Oh, if you
I'm
hover
actually,
over it, they start
yeah,
dancing.
I'm actually surprised that none of these are a little more R-rated. Like I don't see any joints in any hands
I think
or
this
any.
one might have a joint. This blue one,
Oh, okay, I do see it. It's tough to
um,
see. It's tough to see because it's like so perpendicular to the body.
because of
But
how it's like pixelated too.
yeah, I think this is interesting. There's Snoop Dogg is like a really interesting character for a variety of reasons, right? The whole Cosimo de Medici thing and whether or not that's really him, and lots and lots of different reasons to be either skeptical of that or interested in the whole play here. This to me feels like something that will probably do well either in spite of its sandbox inclusion, or maybe because of its sandbox inclusion. Really, either way, I think it'll probably do okay. Snoop is a big enough name. I don't know that the utility stuff that is maybe expected with Sandbox in general, right? He's almost attaching now that this NFT in particular and this collection is in ways, very particular ways, tied to the success of Sandbox as well. I don't know the utility of it, will be utilized in the way maybe that they're expecting. Like how many of these people are really going to be walking around Sandbox with their Snoop NFTs? That I don't know. But in terms of a speculative asset, an NFT just to hold as a collectible, it's Snoop Dogg, and it's like his first project, right? I think that's notable enough, right, to allow it
Yeah.
to do well. What that means financially, I'm not entirely sure, right? There are some folks who are entitled to a mint, right, based on his Snoop passes that you can access. I don't know the floor on those. I was looking at them. should pull it back up, or maybe you've got it there. I was looking at them early last week when this was first announced, or maybe it was late last week when it was first announced, thinking that this might be one of those plays where you could buy the pass, sell the pass before the mint, right, and then grab the mint after, whatever. But I ultimately did not decide to do that.
Yeah. So it appears that you'll be able to pay in sand. So 150 sand in order to mint. So I think what he's really doing here is taking people that are already in the sandbox, metaverse and playing in it, but they're also maybe getting other people who haven't played around in sandbox yet. So I think that'll be sort of interesting to see because kind of like what you're saying, I don't know if this is one that you're necessarily trying to mint and flip per se. I mean, it only costs 150 sand is about $500 or
Yeah.
so USD. So it's not an expensive mint, and we've seen a lot of these, celebrities coming out with more expensive mints and more cash grabby looking stuff. So you see this in the signature one of ones down here, signature editions. So you
Yeah.
partnered with some other teams. You got a little sub tuck
Sup,
right there.
yeah. Did you see, Lou? I actually in the private chat, I sent you the party pass that you could pull up. It's 1.39 Ethereum floor. So you scroll down just a little bit, or maybe it's up now on your screen to those party passes. It might be down. Yeah. So this private party pass, which had previously been dropped, right? This has been out there.
Hmm.
There's 1,000 total. It looks like. 1.369 ETH floor. This gets you whitelist access to the Doggies, which is the avatar collection. That's the name he's given to it. Right. So we've already talked. That chops off like $500 of what was the initial sale price. Guarantees you access. And actually, if you look at that, it's on the Sandbox site as well. If you look at the other perks of the private party pass, you get an invitation to the private party with Snoop, access to his first metaverse concert, invitation to Cosmo's art gallery, and then a future multiplier on staking as well. So
Hmm.
in terms of, I know we're speculating, of course, here with what the price ultimately ends up being, whether this makes sense to flip or not. But if you were long Snoop and Snoop related assets, it may be best to really just scoop one of these access passes, which comes with a bit more and guarantees you access to the Doggies mint as well. Um,
Yeah.
that's if you are like really bullish Snoop Dogg, right? I don't know that I'm there enough. I don't fit in at a party with Snoop Dogg. Like I'm not cool enough, like definitely not cool enough to potentially party with him. So the utility and the future benefit there is diminished in someone like my hands.
Yeah, I think it's better than a lot of some of these other projects that have been coming out recently. And obviously, like the big thing as of late has been like fully doxed teams. And you have the Snoop Dogg name attached to this. So yeah, it'd be cool. Like how many of these parties would you be going to? Like, are you going in person? Like, are they
Yeah,
just in, LA, or you also have to like travel to get there and that whole thing. Um,
I'm not sure.
but
If you click the other one, Lou, so that's the private party pass, but the one to the left, early access pass, you can click that link too. That's the button at the bottom. Um, and that shows you. So this is same thing, right? You get whitelist access to the Doggies, the avatar drop, but you also gain some of those other future benefits. And this one is not, this is even cheaper than the private sale. So the private access one, which is like what, I don't know, in terms of ETH, I don't want to look at the ETH price, but $3,700, and you can still get access to the Doggies and some other benefits with the early access pass, payable in sand for like $1,600. Yeah.
yeah,
So
so that's what was interesting. I thought where you had that one that we were just looking at that was 1.3 Ethereum. That I mean, you're getting basically the same benefit in the specific Doggies mint. Like, it's not like you can get 3 of them if you have that or something, so I'm a little surprised they didn't give more mints to those whitelisters. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna buy either of them, why not just get this one for effectively half the price?
right.
And it's it's the cost of 3 of the mints.
Mm,
So that part was a little weird to me that you weren't getting multiple mints with the more expensive ones. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't know how many people have sand ready to just mint this. So I could see this minting slowly,
Yeah.
but it's more of like a long-term play if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, Snoop is it's another interesting, like, another example of this, celebrity status project, right? Where we've actually seen some FUD about that recently, with the 888 stuff, and then Aoki, which didn't even come close to selling out in public, though is doing okay on secondary, largely because I think the you know the people that
They
minted are
gave
getting
out
more
more.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So it will be interesting. I think oddly, and I'm not sure I have a real reason here. This is kind of anecdotal and me speculating more. Like I think for whatever reason, Snoop and Cosimo have developed a more positive, just generally speaking, like I think there's a more positive attitude around his involvement in NFTs than perhaps like Aoki and the others. I don't know why that happens to be the case. Call it his celebrity being larger or call it him just being a cooler person, overall. I'm not sure why, but I get the sense, generally speaking, that Snoop Dogg is revered in a way that maybe those others aren't. And so where we've seen some celebrity projects kind of falter in recent weeks or receive FUD in recent weeks, this one could, or at least it wouldn't surprise me, if it did really well and sold out. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, things don't all mint out anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately, right?
Yeah. So definitely going to be paying attention to that one a little bit. Um, and then let me bring up, gonna go to some of the others while we're on the subject of what's coming up tomorrow. There's this Cloud Friends one that there's 5,000 of them. The pre-sale starting today, so that one I'd say watch what happens in the pre-sale a little bit. I think it just started. Um, if we see it moving and there's some left on the public mint, then that might be something to be interested in. But for me, there's just too many things happening the next couple days, and I want to like pick and choose better ones. I think the doggy ones is up there, but I mean, I'm not really part of the Sandbox ecosystem much, so I don't know if I'll end up doing it, but I do think it's an interesting one that if I was part of Sandbox and had some sand to spend, like that'd be one that I'd be looking for. Um, the one that I wanted to bring up next is this Atomverse. So they have a little interesting. They've responded back to the community. They've done. I'm not sure exactly what their whitelist specific like process was, but they're doing an initial mint tomorrow of a little over half, so 4,848 of the 8,888 NFTs that they're doing, and they're starting that at zero point 0.1 Ethereum, and then after 12 hours they'll open it to public for 0.15. So this one I thought was what was interesting about this, and let me pull up their page. Um, they originally, for a while, were very set in stone about having 0.18, 0.16 as their mint price, and they've brought it down. I think part of that has to do with last week with like the NFT ethics stuff, the Serial Club,
Yeah.
all these projects that are getting a lot of heat now for pricing out too high. So they've brought it down to zero point 0.1 for pre-sale and then the 0.15 for public, which ended up being similar to what Serial Club ended at. So this one, I'm not sure how much you've gotten into with them, but they have a couple interesting things on their roadmap where they have a serum immediately that you'll be able to use in order to then mint future. So they're going to have a little stacking and they're calling it the chemistry lab. So they're very chemistry based, and you could be one of the different what do they call it? I'm blanking on it. The period on like the periodic table, you could be like one of the
Elements.
chemicals. Yeah, the elements, right? So they have a bunch of different elements that they're going to be based off of, and then you can then basically take the serum and create molecules. And so they have a very like chemistry based vibe to them, and they're within the Atomverse. So they're doing something a little bit different. I don't think it's anything we've like never seen before, but they're kind of an interesting one that I saw is minting tomorrow.
Yeah. Lou, did you know, fun trivia about Logie? Logie started his college career as a chemistry major.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so this could be right up your alley in this one.
Yeah, you know what I realized very quickly was that I didn't like school that much, and so after my freshman year, I moved out of chemistry. I did perfectly fine. I just didn't want to keep doing it anymore. Yep, this
Yeah.
is interesting. I think you're right. Like, unfortunately, what we found in a lot of these cases is that a lot of the projects are recycling used ideas, which isn't bad. You know, it's not necessarily bad. Like, a lot of ideas can be modified in a way that makes them new and innovative. And so that's what I think you're seeing here, which is encouraging. You know, it's better than just every other project. The hard part, though, is that as soon as you start to try and do more things, you know, you introduce just so much execution risk, because we've seen, like, we're both Cool Cats holders, right? And unfortunate, you know, the Cooltopia delays and delays and delays and delays. And it's hard to do new stuff. And so that is another reason why you don't see that many projects really try to stray too far from tried and tested. Here's one drop, here's a companion drop, boom, that's it, you know, because it's easy to do, or easier to do, I should say. And you have less chance of screwing things up. So kudos to Atomverse and this project for trying to do some unique stuff, but there are a lot of things that have to go right. You know, I'm a little always shell shocked and kind of shy at this point in time in terms of just jumping myself into projects with really ambitious roadmaps,
Hmm.
especially without too much being shown up front. The
Yeah.
same, you know, same thing we see where you have all these things or projects with ambitious roadmaps that the game is like, hey, we'll develop the game after, you know, and that's at this point in time, I think the market is wise enough that those projects don't mint out, you know, or maybe they do, but it's, you know, a little less fanfare than there would have been historically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think keep your eye on it. The art is kind of silly. I like that. And I do also enjoy these projects that go a bit above and beyond the artistic representation of just the NFT itself. Like, you see the background, there's like scenes, which is,
Yeah.
it's a small detail, but it's one that's, you know, kind of unique, and fun. I don't know that I'm ready to mint this, Lou, but at least something to keep our eyes on for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm on the whitelist for this one. The problem with a lot of these whitelists is you like sign up for it like a month before and then just join their Discord, and then basically at the time of mint you go on and you're like, am I part of this? I don't remember if I am or not. But quickly I was just gonna go down the sort of process that they have with this serum thing. Basically, you'll get airdropped a serum after X date. And then the rarer ones would be purchasable within their shop, and you earn tokens from staking. So the tokens you could earn from either trading your serums in or staking the Atomverse, and then the rarity is determined from there, and depends on how long you stake it for. So they're trying to do a couple different things involved, but they've created a lot of different combos, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think I know some people that are planning on minting this. This is one that I'm going to probably watch. When it was 0.18 or 0.16, whatever they had for the price before, I was a little less interested in it. But now that it's point
Yeah,
0.1 for the private and then
yeah.
0.15 for the public, I have some time to sort of see if there's interest in the market. So that's the Atomverse one.
You know what else, Lou? I
Yep.
didn't see it on the show notes, and I apologize for hopping it in here, because I don't know if it's on the schedule. I don't know why. I thought I published it. But Tubby Cats.
That one was today.
Well, the pre-sale
It's already.
or mint list is today, for the next 2 days. Actually, I believe it on our schedule. It should be on our schedule. Maybe not. Yeah, 2 days from now. Sorry, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I was trying to push it through while we were on here. There's 20,000 total NFTs. So there may be some that are left over, but that's another notable one. Just want to make sure we got it onto the
Yeah.
roadmap and under the radar. This
Yeah,
is
so right now it's like it has some decent trading volume so far, over 400 uh, Ethereum already traded.
already, yeah, 20,000 total assets, and these are crypto native, crypto notables as well. Ratwell and oh boy, well, the other name I'm not exactly sure. Blanking at present time, but this is something that's hopefully enough assets get through to the public. I'll be watching. So the reveal happens every 1,000 minted. You can refresh the
Yeah.
metadata, and so it's like instant reveal, sort of. Um, they're fun. You saw D's got a really cool honorary. I Cats are fun. Like everybody loves cat stuff.
We're kind of in a
So
cat meta right now.
cat meta, bring
We
it
have
back, baby.
they have the what was the one that was just pumping? The pop arts one. That
Yeah,
one's been
Matt
pumping this
Chesko.
morning. Um,
That's a nice one.
Puma came out and just bought a cool cat, so that's been a big one this morning so far. Carlini is in our chat, obviously from the Penelope's Country Club. So yeah, cats are in right now, which I don't know if cats are ever out when it comes to the internet. The art to these don't really speak to me much, but like you said, they have Ratwell connected, which maybe
Yeah.
he has enough pull in that sense. So yeah, I mean, this has how many more still to mint? Like
So there's
15,000.
20,000 total assets. Yeah,
Yeah,
0.1 Ethereum mint price.
so it's still pretty far away.
Yeah, but I'll be eyeing this. Lots more supply to come. So like I'm not ready to jump in at 0.41, but these are one of those ones that to me, this is also CCO, which is very very popular right now. MFers, hopefully Toads eventually as well come back to that. This is one of those projects that to me like it almost feels like you just buy one and you stash it away. Like MFers, I know we're doing some hindsight stuff, but like MFers seemed obvious that it would eventually do a pump. Maybe not, to 6 or 7 like we've seen,
Yeah.
but it seemed like I remember when it minted, right? You minted. I was trying to do a how to mint from contract video, so I didn't ever actually get to mint because I was making a play for the content people.
It went very
Um,
fast too.
yeah, it did go really fast. But this seems like one where, given the people involved, given the meme ability, right, the mimetic value potentially attached, you just buy one and you stash it away and you forget about it. Buy one or two and you stash it away and forget about it. Um, it's great. I think they're cool. And like I said, I'm all for cats. So I will be full disclosure. I'm not on the mint list, so I wasn't able to mint just yet. I'll have to wait for the public or buy on secondary. Public is 2 days from now at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's on our schedule
Mhm.
at Lucky Trader. So I'll need to wait and see a little bit, but I would
Yeah.
like to stash one away. Yeah.
I mean, so far, like it's a zero point 0.1 mint and it's at a zero point 0.4 floor. This is the type of thing that people are going to look at and want to mint when the public comes out because you see that gap there and it's positive. So this one we'll be watching. Tubby Cats.
It's a good name too. Tubby
Yeah,
Cats.
I do wish the art was a little better, but like you said, like if it has that meme ability, then um sometimes that can make things moon just from the fact that it is kind of like a goofy little artwork to
Yeah.
it, you know?
And Tony says my Tubby is great. Tubbies, right? Like things that you can shorthand like this. Tubbies. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, like the Furus were one that people have been shorthanding recently.
Yeah.
Um, cool. So the next one I wanted to talk about was the Starcatchers. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
looked into them much. Um, they had a specific one. I got this from the Cool Cats, I think. I think it was from the Cats. This is one that they were running a bunch of whitelist spots for, and so it was more of a closed Discord
Hmm.
situation, which to me, I think those generate better communities and people that want to actually be minting the project. So this one, they're having half being minted in whitelist at 0.111 ETH. and that's
Yep.
starting at 2:22:22 at
Yeah.
2:22 Pacific time. So that'll be tomorrow. That'll be one to watch. They're not doing a different price for people that mint in the public sale, which I thought was somewhat interesting. But um, this one, they have been partnering with a lot of
Yeah.
different teams. I think Wonder Pals, which not sure if we're gonna get to them today. I think they mint on Saturday, but they're one that have been similar. It's a cute little art to it, and it's stars, so it's different. It's not like an animal or something. Um, what's sort of your initial take on the Starcatchers?
Yeah, I like these. Same thing. I've seen these around for a while, and not just through like Cool Cats, right? But like a lot of other what I believe to be, and I'm using my opinion here, but what I believe to be reputable communities. So like Toy Boogers did a giveaway for Starcatchers. I think maybe Toads did too, and a bunch of other like communities that you feel like are reputable, kind of long-standing communities have put themselves alongside Starcatchers, which is a really strong, plus. You notice there Allison Harvard
Yeah,
on the team, really notable artist in the space. Somebody that's well respected. Just and there's enough here, right? There's enough synergies in the communities that they have aligned with, the people on the team. I love the fact that even as simple as it is, right, that you can like see the team's Twitter accounts. I am totally fine with the pseudonymous teams. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't care if you want to remain, anonymous or whatever, but can you please just link your Twitter account at minimum?
yeah,
Like, so that's a small thing, but it's something that right now I'm using as a little tiebreaker. So there's
yep,
enough here that I do like it. Also, too, they are fully transparent right up front. That like there is no official roadmap just yet,
right.
and that in terms of the roadmap, right, it's like some eventual governance stuff. If you go down to that when roadmap, maybe some merch, real life events, right? They're not promising a game. They're not saying this, that, whatever. And they've told us sort of up front what you can expect. Now, of course, there's some ambiguity here. There's some vagaries baked in.
Hmm.
That's okay. It leaves them some options. I wish it was a little more clear cut, but it is better than suggesting a game is coming or suggesting that after 25% they're going to do merch, or after 25% they'll unlock the Discord. I'd almost just prefer this. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm all for it. I think the art is fun. It is a little bit different. Some warm colors, in my opinion. I am unfortunately not on the mint list, so I would need to play either the secondary or the public mint, of
Hmm.
which, that point in time, who knows, right? If we'll
Yeah.
have the opportunity or not. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And this one does seem like it has a decent following. I mean, that team, there's what, 12 people that they have listed on a team. So um, everyone's out there. You can find information. The Allison Harvard one was notable to me as well. She has over 150,000 followers on Twitter, and she's already pretty known in the NFT world. So, like to think that she has some connections that she's trying to bring on to do some things with Starcatchers. So,
yeah,
um, that's one that I've been looking at recently, and then I guess we could get into the big one of the week now. The Invisible Friend. So this one a little harder to sort of explain to people about this one because likely you're either know about it and you're on the whitelist or you're not on the whitelist at all and you'll have to buy it on secondary. So right now the big thing with the Invisible Friends is, do we think the secondary is going to be wild? When basically, for those that don't know, the way that they set up their whitelist was basically a point system off of how many of their previous projects you owned. And this is from the Random Character Collective.
yep,
And they previously had Mood Rollers and Slim Hoods were the two other projects. And you had to hold a combined 4 of them to definitely get on the whitelist. And I think there was about 1,500 people that fell in that category. And then from there, they did a raffle for others. And so the combined cost of those got up to, if not over 5 Ethereum,
yeah,
um, it might have gotten up to 6. So the big question here is if it got to that range, is that what we would be expecting if you're buying it on secondary? Because there's all 5,000 are going to be claimed. It's 0.25 mint, which we've seen in the past, like 0.25 mint. It's kind of expensive. Are we expecting like an NFT ethics bomb on the morning
I
of
don't think
Wednesday?
so. I don't think so. So I actually did, and if you want to pull it up, Lou, feel free. But for newsletter
Yeah,
subscribers at Lucky Trader, we did an exclusive sort of deep dive about Invisible Friends last week to sort of prepare people. It is a little more unfortunate in this instance because all the allow list spots are taken, right? But we walked through all the details, so you can find that on site. I'll actually, if you don't mind, Lou, drop it in the chat. We haven't fully announced it
yeah,
just yet because we wanted to leave it newsletter exclusive. But if you're watching this show, and since I'm here today, we'll share this as well. It's just the formal details. But Marcus Magnuson, the artist, like reputable individual, somebody who's been building art and animated graphic art like this for a long time, worked with clients. You see this everywhere, right? Like the worked with Disney, worked with Google, ESPN, all those things. Um, it another one of those, right? Fits right in. But this is also something too that maybe it's not super well known. Invisible Friend stuff has been in the works since like November, October, right? This is not all of these new projects we see pop up look better than other projects did previously. We're seeing better art, better artists join the space. So don't confuse this, I think, with other nice aesthetically pleasing projects that have been built up recently. It doesn't necessarily fit in that category, right? So Invisible Friends, 5,000 or yeah, 5,000 total. Is that what I'm looking at here? Am
yeah.
I
And the
saying that
other
wrong here?
two were both 5,000
Yeah,
collections as well. So
yeah,
the way they had it set up was limited to how many people could be just on the whitelist. So they kept it as you had a chance by being in the raffle. Um, you I think you had to basically have about 7 ETH worth of assets just to be having a chance at these. And so people were passing up, just running away with that much Ethereum in order to mint these. So
yeah. I
that
think
side of it makes me think that could be the floor. I think there's that one of one that's going to be auctioned off that I think could be setting the standard. If that goes for like 20 ETH, like the previous one of ones from uh,
yeah,
RCC, but I don't at this point it probably shouldn't go for that low because it comes with 5 others.
yeah.
Um,
You
so
see,
I think
Lou,
that might.
I'm sorry. If you scroll down a little bit
Yep.
in this article, so Marcus Magnuson, as I mentioned, longtime artist, really only started minting NFTs recently. You can find his foundation page; it's linked there if you want to go to that. Sold that one, the image that's shared there, which is Invisible Friends like, right? Very, very similar in nature. It's not the exact same thing. That sold in early January for 20 ETH. So that's a one of one. Again, you don't necessarily need to associate this with the Invisible Friends collection, though I think you should likely. This to me is an Invisible Friend one of one, right? Like that's how I'm consuming this. Sold for 20 ETH on I think January 6th, right? Or yeah, something like that earlier this year. Given more hype built around this project since that time, um, I fully expect the one of ones to go for very, very high. In terms of the total collection, it should be no less than what like we saw with Karafuru, right? Like 3 to 5 almost instantly. Like that would not surprise me at all. Um, and I mean I think it's okay that it would be that. Like this to me feels genuine, it's different, it's new, it's been built not in a day or a week, right? And this is an artist who has been building IP that is similar in nature for a very long time. So there's not only this piece, but if you head back to his foundation page, he just minted a piece that was shared in a and built a long time ago. That kind of go play outside one. Man, we're speculating on price, right? And full disclosures, I'm sure Lou you share every time about this. Look at the reserve price. Those new ones. Invisible Friend Ghost Man. That must be listed by DK Motion. Oh wait, are those previous sales? These must be new since I even wrote the article last week.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if that's the one that they're auctioning off or not, but,
no, I don't think so. It's the golden one, isn't it? But
unknown.
regardless, my whole
Yeah,
point being that, this is somebody who is well received, well respected in the, in the animated graphics, whatever you want to call that, in that space and in that sphere. And putting in the work to build this over the course of the last 6 months or so. They haven't rushed anything. They've been, in my opinion, very clear in their communications, about everything that's coming. They've set what I believe to be a fair mint price based on the demand, 0.25 high, relatively speaking, but when compared to other hyped projects, Pixelmon beyond, right? Like, this is a fairly reasonable introductory price that a lot of folks could scrape together,
yeah,
for the hype. So I expect somewhere from 3 to 5 almost instantly, and it doesn't shock me at all.
yeah. My concern is just, like, what we've seen in hyped projects, like, potentially the previous most hyped project was Mechaverse, and, that got up to over over 5 ETH in the pre-reveal. Once it revealed, people got mad, and obviously it collapsed from there. Hate Beast, once it revealed, it collapsed from there. So it's going to be tough for me to not expect something like that to still happen with this. And so, especially if they don't have a roadmap and they're openly
Yeah.
saying that they don't have a roadmap, then if people don't like what theirs looks like or it's underwhelming, they thought they were getting something else, they just got a floor, then you're still buying at 0.25. You didn't sell. Like some of those people that weren't selling got 2 plus Ethereum and they had 4 of them. They got them for like half an ETH. So and they were just holding them that whole time because they thought the likelihood of getting, say, a rare invisible friends, the upside there was higher. So I could see people like you're still just minting it at 0.25. Like there are obviously people that probably threw in 5 plus Ethereum to get onto this whitelist, but I mean there could be enough people that got in for a lower price point
Yeah.
that the floor could like I don't expect this to hold above 10 immediately if they're not
No.
doing anything.
Yeah, so Chicago Spartan makes note that, yeah, that point system. So four guaranteed you. If you held four either mood rollers or four a combination of mood rollers plus slim hoods, just any RCC random character collective asset, you were automatically. But beyond that, those who held three, two, whatever, right? Depending on how many, it's just 3 point holders got whitelisted. There was a raffle for the remaining spots, up to a certain X, varied between 2.25 to 3 for the last month. Thanks for sharing that. So, yeah, your cost basis kind of, right? Because that's how we should sort of consider that. A cost basis is a little bit variable, but not,
Yeah.
not too crazy. I don't know, man. I'm excited for this. I do think you're exactly right. There's going to be some ignorance here where folks are expecting, based on the demand, that there's so much more to come with Invisible Friends, right? And no, not really. The only thing on the roadmap, right? If you take a look at the article that I wrote, it's linked in the chat. There is sort of one thing on the roadmap, and it's indicated only the only place, at least at the time, was in the bio of the Invisible Friends Twitter. There is a note given, a note referencing a collaboration coming in mid 2022. That's it. So does that mean airdrop to Invisible Friends holders? Does that mean whatever? Like, we don't know, right? There's no real more information. And if it has been shared and you know of it, please do let us know here at this point in time.
Yeah.
But so there's, maybe not done. And last bit of speculation, and of course, this is all speculation from my side. Last bit is the IP here is so recognizable, so different, and so
Yeah. But there's already that imaginary ones that's copying it.
yeah. Well, that's true. And I also saw, actually, unfortunately, I think a fake Invisible Friends mint thing today that happened. Hopefully, that doesn't spurn anything here. Yeah, dropping, say, 3D collab with. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Nguyen Nut, art later this year. The gentleman who's working on Clayboys. mid 2022. So some sort of collaboration coming. We don't know what that means. Regardless, I think that this is notable enough that even without a super clear roadmap, like you see a lot of these projects partnering to do a show or a XYZ or whatever. Like Invisible Friends IP wise, just the on look and feel alone, like feels like something that could fit into. And Marcus Magnuson is a big enough name and maybe a well respected name with connections to those other notable organizations. Very, very speculating a ton here, but I could see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
And then something that Tyler had brought up on last week's show is, I'm not sure if you saw this tweet from Marcus, but he tweeted this: "No promises, garbage friends." So are they already planning another one without even doing anything for Invisible Friends? At the time, obviously, of this tweet, which was, what's that, a week ago, basically, um, it had 0 followers, and now it's 60,000 followers. So is he already moving on to the next thing? But then you can also argue there might be, if you hold all 3 of the previous projects to get on the next one. So are they just like stacking them on top of each other? But this is a little different. This is something I brought up as well on Thursday, was it's a little different than other projects where, should the third version of this RCC set of projects be the most expensive one? Like, why is the OG ones not more
Yeah.
expensive? Why is this one going to have, a premium of, at the point right now? So let's say that the floor is 5, even that's still 5x the previous collection. So then we saw a sharp decline in the Slim Hoods and Mood Rollers after they
Mhm.
cut off the whitelist time. So, I mean, how diamond hands are these holders? Were they just sitting to try to get the whitelist because
Yeah.
the price fell, 60% or so? So that's where, to me, like, I could easily see this balancing more in that like 4 to 5 range than the 8 to 10 range long term. That's
Yeah.
not to say that this is the type of project that, I talk about with these types of things, is your rare lotto has a higher upside on this. So
Yeah.
even if you're like passing up selling at 6 Ethereum pre-reveal, it's the idea that if you get one of those super rare ones, you could be selling it for like 40 plus ETH.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're spot on to share that. Last thing I would maybe make note of here, I did turn on alerts already for Marcus Magnuson, and I follow the Garbage Friends account. So really interesting. The last thing I was going to share though is just in regards to the Random Character Collective. It's another one of these things where we're sort of speculating on exactly what becomes of it, right? So Random Character Collective started more or less, it was Slim Hoods that turned into Slim Hoods plus Lucas Zanato's Mood Rollers, right? This is just notable artists that work in
Yeah.
animation coming together. And so if you take a look at Random Character Collective, and there's not really much about them or the future plans here, but it does indicate like a tweet very, very early from Jim Curran, who is I think I put it in that article, but maybe not. But a tweet really early from Jim Curran, the Slim Hoods artist, just indicates that Random Character Collective, in large part, is just a collective of animated NFT collections, right? So, why does Invisible Friends command more than the others? Well, I think at that point you're sort of looking at this as like a collection from a larger thing, much like with art blocks, much like with others,
Yeah.
where the valuation on the projects themselves is not tied to the overall, Random Character Collective thing, but is more so tied to who is the artist, what does the art look like, and what might come as a result. Lastly, I believe, and I don't have the information in front of me, but I believe we've seen, whether it be through Marcus or Jim or Lucas Donato, I swear we saw somewhere that there was some mention that Random Character Collector holders would be in some way likely included in the future if there are future things, just like what we saw with this one, right? Where If you
Yeah.
held them, you were likely, or at least had a better chance of becoming whitelisted for invisible friends. Is there some expectation that that may continue should they add more projects down the road? I believe the
Yeah.
answer is
I think
yes.
so.
And at that point, like, when does picking up a Slim Hood or two, or when does picking up a Mood Roller or two, like, actually make more sense than just, buying an invisible friend or something?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's sort of what I was thinking with I mean, we saw that with those 2. They sort of balanced out when both were given almost even odds, I guess, even point system, for invisible friends. So, I mean, they're gonna have to, if they do something like that, give a 5, 7, 8x value to the invisible friends if they hold that much different. So that's the part of it for me that I'm still sort of struggling with. But also the other side is with these big hyped projects pre-reveal, how big of a market do you have of people that are willing to spend 5 plus Ethereum on something that doesn't have a roadmap? Is, it is art that some people might like, but there's only 5,000 of them. It's at least it's not like a 10,000 project, but um, I don't know. It's kind of hard to build up the hype from starting at 5, I guess is what I'm saying, versus
yeah.
like we saw that run of MFers. A lot of people were holding them under 1 ETH or
Mhm.
grabbing it on the run up. Um, this is like you have the only time you can get in is buying something at 5 plus ETH. So I think it'll be interesting to watch. Obviously, this is probably the most hyped project, definitely this week, but potentially, I mean, all year. Um, so I'll be interested to watch it. I don't think I'm personally gonna buy one.
Yeah. This is a great last point. Thanks for sharing this, Chicago. Um,
Yeah.
Something that I've been like considering when I'm evaluating my existing bags, right? I'll use Toy Boogers as an example that is not Invisible Friends focused. I believe Toy Boogers did it. We talked about Starcatchers earlier. I'm pretty sure they didn't allow us for that. I don't think I won. I have not won a single raffle from Toy Boogers, though I've had some decent raffle luck recently. But I've been using, sort of this allow list meta, right, and these community partnership angles as ways to sort of maintain some value, or like prescribe some level of value to the NFTs that I'm holding. That is not necessarily calculated in, right? You've talked about this, I think, previously with Doodles, right? You're almost like naturally allow listed or on mint list for a lot of projects just for holding it. And that in
Yeah.
itself carries weight and adds value that is not necessarily added in. So I actually, yeah, I believe that to be the case too. You're talking about a project that um, not so non RCC projects is what he's referencing here. You're talking about a project that is going to likely have strong community because there are going to be what we expect to be very close to 5,000 holders, right? More or less. Um, right? Is there a way to hold more
Yeah.
than
I
one?
mean, you not of this, but you can have the mood rollers and
Right.
others.
So
Um,
that
yeah.
we've kind of seen that metric, right? Individual holders, that metric sort of support the diamond handy nature of a project, and then two, sort of support the community aspect as well. One, you're talking about more individuals, a bigger community. And secondly, you're talking about a community of individuals that, with only one, with fewer assets, are less likely, speculating, right? Anecdotal, less likely to sell those assets because once you sell, you're out, you know?
Hmm.
So this is something where if you are an upcoming project looking for a notable community, an entrenched community, a
Yeah.
quality community, you may look to Invisible Friends holders as an example of such. Great distribution, people that are holding a high value asset for the high value asset, right? There's lots of speculation here, but that's a great last point that I think is sometimes lost. I don't know when things will change, when meta will change, that we move beyond holders unlocking access to other things. I suspect at some point we will, but until that time comes, there is an additional hidden value in basically all of your high community or suspected high community NFTs that we're not necessarily equating for. So
Yeah.
great point. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good one to watch for. Um, yeah, like you said, I think the reason I'm even on Atomverse is just from holding a doodle, and the the star list came from Cool Cats. Like I've gone on a bunch of these random white lists, and all you have to do is connect Collabland and um, show that you have a doodle, and they
Yeah.
just like let you in because they want to connect to these higher
Right.
end projects. They want the higher end investors as well. I think is part of it. So there is that sort of equity aspect, and
Yeah.
Azuki's been doing some of that recently as well. Um,
Oh, really? Man, I need to
they've
open up.
gotten onto some, I think. Yeah.
I guess I got to start paying a little bit closer attention. I think given the results of this, the actions of this last weekend with the OpenSea phishing stuff,
Yeah.
we should. It would be remiss if we did not share that. Of course, make sure when you are signing transactions or you are connecting to things that you are
Yeah.
taking the utmost care and attention into understanding, and connecting with legitimate sites only, and only do so when you feel like you are in the most trustworthy, safe place ever. And don't do those actions if you are not up to consuming that risk. So that's something to share. But Lou's totally right. There are a lot of these communities that are going to unlock, and that's Toy Boogers, for example, to me is like that's a project that like maybe not a lot of people even know about. I think it's like 0.6 floor or something like that, 3,000 piece collection, kind of fun art. Yeah, I could take the point 0.6 gain or whatever I got from it, if I wanted to. But actually, like opening myself up to these new communities is worth, even if Toy Boogers went to zero. You know what I mean? It's worth holding it to have the opportunity to mint Starcatchers or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So, yeah, pumping my Toy Boogers bags. Full disclosure, I own a Toy Booger,
Hmm.
but that is a great community example there that
Yeah.
I think something we don't necessarily even calculate. But I'm looking for more opportunities like that. Tubby Cats, to go back, as I keep
Yeah.
derailing us here, Lou. But Tubby Cats, I just saw Dee's just tweeted the mint list, and I actually like this is bad that I don't own any of the NFTs on this mint list. Like Forgotten Rune Wizards are on there. Tubby Cat whitelist. I'm gonna read these: Llama Punks, Ghost Kitties, Cup Cats, Loomlock, so Wassies, nouns, pills. I don't know what that is. Or I guess I do maybe know what that is. Milady Maker, Mythical, Chonk Society, Pseudo Burger, The Colors, Spicy, Forgotten Runes, and Jabba Forms. So if you hold any of those, you could mint it. If you're listening to this and you hold any of those NFTs, you are on the whitelist for
Yeah.
Tubby Cats. Tubby Cats 0.44 last time we looked at the beginning of the show. You can
And
mint one for 0.1 ETH right now.
there was just a big sale from Loomdart. He just
Nice.
bought one for 5 ETH. So
Great.
there have been the higher end sales. Tubby Cat so far this morning seems like it's working out for people. Um, I think that slow sort of way that they're doing the reveals might be helping as well because the thing with reveals is people always look, oh, is it rare? But if they're only doing 1,000 at a time, then people might be like, oh, this one looks rare. And then 3 reveals later, there's another one that looks like it or something. So you could take advantage of that if yours reveal early. So definitely if you're a Tubby Cat holder, that's something to be watching for today.
Yeah,
Um,
I've got to after this call.
if you're gonna
I
buy one.
gotta take a peek at Tubby Cats. I would really love to be in that like 0.2 range, probably, but I don't know, man. I do like them. I gotta just find one that resonates
There's a
with me.
lot more
A
supply to
lot
come
of supply
too.
coming.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
they're actually. If I'm looking at the right collection, they're down to 0.25. Yeah, this must be it. Um, So we're approaching range where like if I found one that I liked, I would snag it and just send her away. And
Yeah.
expectation here, or maybe expectation, not the right word to use, but look at the communities that were benefited or rewarded with a Tubby Cat. Tubby
Mhm.
Cats being CCO, right? There is likely to be a handful of communities down the road that are providing something to Tubby Cats, right? Speculation, of course. There's
Yeah.
20,000 assets, so it's not like every Tubby Cat holder is going to get something, but maybe a raffle. Maybe a luck box, an invisible friend, or something down the road with a Tubby Cat in your collection.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'm let's talk about one more real quick because I think it's pretty notable. Is Parallel Alpha. They're doing
Yeah.
a drop on Saturday. This is the third drop that they've had, and they're doing it a little differently this time. They want to get more cards into more people's hands, guaranteed, versus before you were able to mint in groups of 3 based on 3 different rarities and 3 different costs. This time they're just going to do it's 52,651 packs that they're having available at 0.075 Ethereum each. And they're doing it a little differently here where you're just getting it 1 pack, 1 tier, and it comes with 10 cards in it this time. And you could get 2 packs. So instead of 3 packs, where I think you were able to get, I forget what the specific numbers were. It was something like 5 cards, 3 cards, 1 card, or something like that, and you're able to get 3 of each. Potentially, it was one of those click battles, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so you can have up to 10 cards each, and there's different rarities that can come in those 10 cards. And there's 787 prime cards that are remaining. So those are the ones that obviously people have wanted to get. Yeah, and you shared this in the chat, but we have a couple different articles now on Parallel Alpha and the intro analysis article that we recently released. We also have a breakdown of the white paper and different takeaway articles on them. So we have a decent amount of information on Parallel Alpha if you're interested in it. But yeah, Saturday is going to be a big day. For them, it's going to be afternoon drop, and they're the type of thing where you have to you have to have their notifications on and like probably be in their Discord because they're either going to tweet or make an announcement in Discord first. And generally, whichever one you see first and you click that link, you get in. But like we mentioned earlier, be careful on links and where you're getting them from. Don't click a link that's shared by a random person that's in the Discord or even one of your own sort of alpha Discords if you're part of. Go straight to the source. There's a lot of fake stuff out there, and this is the type of hyped drop that is going to have a lot more scam links than others. So, Parallel Alpha on Saturday. Sorry, someone's
Oh, no.
yeah, someone's in trouble down the road from me apparently. But yeah, so Parallel Alpha on Saturday. Have you participated in the previous parallel drops at all?
I tried. I did not get past the captcha last time.
Oh yeah.
I got stuck in the captcha loop and it was gone by the time. And then the first one, I remember I was traveling. Unfortunately, I was on a train or a bus or something, and it did not. So I am Parallel Alpha cardless for a long, long time. I see John Nanetti in our chat. I've been pestering him with questions here and there about getting started because it's a type of project where you I hate saying these things, but like you can sort of just forget about it, right? Like whether or not you want to play the game, this is a project and a team that has already been bet on very, very
Yeah.
largely by reputable. Paradigm invested 50 million into Parallel. Um, my life motto, right, is kind of like tail smart people, and like the people at Paradigm are very smart people. And so if you have the other great part is, let's say you're not, you don't really want to play the game, but you don't have a lot of Ethereum either, and you kind of just want to maybe play the long term investment game, but not, you're not ready to buy a cup cat or not a cup cat, a tubby cat or whatever.
Hmm.
You could get a parallel card for 0.03 and then sort of forget about it for forever. Doesn't mean it'll go up, of course, right? It doesn't mean that it'll be usable later or whatever, but it could be. And it's a good team. If I was going to dunk off 0.03 ETH on something, like I really can't think of too many better examples than a parallel card.
Yeah, and they're gonna have things like staking sets. Uh, we did have a video with John, who's in the chat right now, breaking down a little bit of a couple times, I guess, but breaking down some of the mechanics with the game. I'm showing you right now the prime key, which is like the ultimate thing to get, and it has a floor of just simply 19.5 Ethereum, which, you know,
Just
today it's
simply
over $50,000. But the thing with that is, sometimes you see that you're like, oh, no one sell, but there was a couple that has sold in the last couple days. Yeah, yesterday had 3 sales, 18 to 19 Ethereum. So um, people are trying to anticipate this and get ahead of it before there's some new supply out there. So um, that's the strategy I've been sort of thinking here. Um, I might try to get one of these sets. I'm gonna figure out that which one I might want. But my plan was wait until this drop because of the additional supply that comes out, and hope that that means some of the prices come down. The biggest issue with this is that it's on Ethereum, and you're paying basically the same amount in gas as you are for the cards. So that's where getting them in the packs are pretty beneficial because they have it set up as their reserve system. So you're just paying that 0.075 plus gas once instead of times 10. So, yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch on Saturday as well. And then, yeah, and anything else, we'll be updating through Lucky Trader through our NFT News Twitter and the Lucky Trader HQ account for all the up to date stuff when these things are minting out. If there's delays on any of them, we've seen a lot of delays recently. So I don't expect all 5 projects or however many we talked about today to all just go out
isn't that
without a hitch.
insane? Isn't that insane that we the expectation at present time is that the 5 things we talked about today will not happen, like we
Well,
talked
we'll
about.
be talking about 2 or 3 of them coming out next week,
It's
probably.
bullish though, right? Because remember CloneX, we talked about CloneX for 3 weeks in a
Yep.
row because of the delays, and now look at CloneX, right? If you stuck with us and you showed up to those each of
Yeah.
those,
We're hoping that's
so
the same for Cool Pets.
yeah, Cool Pets, of course, and then any other of these that we talked about on this call that I'm on the mint list for, we're hoping for that too. So
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for stopping by, and we'll be back on Thursday with Tyler. He'll be back for a little more. Maybe we'll have the information on all these things have dropped. Maybe we'll be talking Invisible Friends 15th floor on Thursday or something. So look out for that on Thursday, and we'll catch you guys next time.